Welcome to another edition of Phoenix 76 Tech Talk. I am here with my friends Lene and Rosario. We'll be talking about navigating the business world today. So, Rosario, can you quickly tell me a little bit about yourself, and then I'll lead into our first question for you.
Oh, thank you, Nick. My name is Rosario. I've been in the IT industry for over 15 years. I started as a programmer and I migrated to a management position, which I've been holding for the past 5 or 8 years.
Excellent. So, Rosario, in today's hyper-connected world, what soft skills do you believe are most crucial for navigating professional relationships effectively?
Um, Communication skills are the best. It is a must. And it's the ability to communicate, to interact with your peers, your leaders, your partners is the most critical skill set that is required uh, to be in that professional setting. Also, critical thinking is important. Be able to stand on your 2 feet and be able to communicate clearly your ideas and share your experience. And also having a positive attitude, going to the workplace, being able to interact with your peers and be valued and be well connected, appreciate for the work that you're performing. And finally, is uh, work ethics. This is your brand. People have to know you for what you bring to the table or who you are. Those are the skills that are essential to really be able to succeed in such an environment.
Excellent. Thank you for those insights. Lene, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll ask you your first question.
Sure. So I'm currently in a quasi tech role, I'll say. I started off in the federal government. I was in more of a deep technical role. I moved over to big consulting, where I left at a senior manager equivalent role. So kind of a mix of tech and business. And now I am in the tech role more officially. Um,
Excellent. It's, it's an exciting journey so far. I want to know more. So, how can professionals cultivate their networking skills in both online and offline environments?
Sure. So there are nuances between the two platforms. However, there are three things I feel that will help you no matter if they're online or offline. One is to be authentic. Two is to be intentional. And three is to find avenues to connect you offline or online, right? So, for example, I'm not interested in being an astrophysicist. So, I'm not going to try to network with Neil deGrasse. However, I am interested in AI. So, look on LinkedIn and I think about conferences or things like that where I can identify with someone. And then I really do a little bit of research on that person and I understand what they are offering. I think about my intention, how it connects, then I make a plea or ploy. Outside that, I also create avenues or identify avenues for myself and also that person. Hey, I see that you have this conference going up that you're going to be participating in. Do you need help with it? Or maybe I'll attend and then I'll give a little bit of a write up after. This is what I really enjoyed so that I can keep that conversation going because it's great to make a connection. However, if you want that relationship, you need to do something to cultivate it.
Okay. So I'm seeing how some of the skills that we're laying out here are kind of coming in order of operations. So you got to be an effective communicator in order to navigate or start building your networks effectively. Okay. So Rosario, back to you. What strategies do you recommend for effectively advocating for oneself in the workplace without coming across as overly aggressive?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Nick. And really, what people don't understand is that for you to advocate for yourself, you have to understand your own value. You have to understand what you bring to the table. And so when you approach someone and your leaders, approach from that perspective and then be authentic, be real, be able to communicate and share your experience, but also the value that you bring to the organization. So most of the time, your leaders will know that. So you will be sharing something they already know. And so advocating for yourself and without being aggressive requires a little bit of understanding of who you really are. And be vulnerable, be authentic, be able to relate, and have a conversation that doesn't require any kind of um, adversarial communication, but it's more like a conversation about how you can help bring value to the organization, how you can leverage the the knowledge that you have to bring and move the organization to the next level.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, a lot of I'm in tech as well, and I have found that, understanding self-advocacy and doing, what you said has actually benefited my career greatly. You are your own best advocate. You know your skills the best. So,
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
and you have to be able to tell your story. I mean, no one knows you better than yourself. So you should be able to come out and tell your story. Don't allow somebody else to tell your story for you.
Mm. So, Lene, how do you balance self-promotion with humility and building your personal brand?
Sure. I think first people need to realize, like Rosario said, you do need to tell your story. You have to become comfortable in self-promotion because you don't want someone else telling it. And also you really want to define your role, who you are, and what you want to go forward with, right? So for that, one of my favorite books is Write It Down, Make It Happen. And in that book, she talks about kind of making a framework about where you are, where you want to go. So for me, the first thing is write out what is your brand? What is your what do you want to be known for? And then how do you want to get there? How do you want to publicize that? How do you want to advertise that? To me, I feel I've been on calls when people go on and on and on and rant, right? However, sometimes they don't get to the point. I feel if you write it out, you review it, you may have a peer or mentor someone to review it that you trust, you can get insight on if you are conveying that message correctly, if you are building up your brand, if it goes in line, because you can write out a whole lot of things and never get your point across. So I really do think that, again, writing down what you want to convey and where you want to go, and then maybe having a trusted mentor read it over, and then making sure that story, that script, that elevator script is crisp. You can repeat it very quickly. I think that that will help you to self promote while not being and keep it humility.
Hey, I am 100% in line with that. I can't tell you how many times where I've written something, thought it was great, and then went back to it like 20 minutes or next day later, and yeah, it could use some improvement. So thank you for that insight. So, Rosario, what role does authenticity play in networking and personal branding efforts?
Oh, Nick, I think you touched on something that is extremely important. The word personal branding. People have to know who you are. And when people talk about personal branding, it means so much. When people think about you, they need to remind themselves of who you really are, what you come across. Are you reliable? Um, are you dependable? Are you a great worker? Are you a good communicator? And all that is part of your personal branding. And for you to be able to um, portray who you really are, you have to be authentic. You have to be comfortable in your skin. So that doesn't mean that you can impose yourself on somebody else or the organization, but it's to be able to come across and be able to understand what you want, what you really want to do, and start from that position. So you may be in a position where there are certain things that you're not comfortable doing, and that's okay. And that's what authenticity means: being able to um, value who you are and be able to present yourself uh, based on what you believe in, and not being aggressive at the same time, not being confrontational, but be able to share the things that are the most important to you.
I like that. I like that. I that has been, that's incredibly important. People can really understand and pick up when, you're not comfortable with yourself. And, you yourself know when you're not comfortable. And starting a new job or entering into a new industry is tough enough as it is without trying to, create this facade. So better to bring your authentic self and let it shine through because 9 times out of 10, people are really looking for, who you really are, and they're really trying to crack through it to get what's underneath.
And to add to that, I had a mentor who actually said this to me. Um, he was looking for position. He was being interviewed. And so what he did, he flipped the switch where instead of like being interviewed, he was interviewing the interviewer to see this is the space that you want to be in. So that's being authentic.
Mm. So, Lene, I want to switch gears a little bit. Can you share an example of a time when leveraging your network led to a major career breakthrough for you?
There's been several opportunities for that, but I think one more recently. So in my previous role in big consulting, networking was highly encouraged. It didn't matter what level you were encouraged to go talk to that person, introduce yourself, and trying to get time in a calendar, no big deal. My current role, it's talked about, but it's not as aggressive, I guess. Especially if you're in higher roles, it's kind of like you can't ask that person to have time on your calendar, right? And I learned this after asking an SVP for time on her calendar, and someone looked like, I didn't care. There's only a yes or no, right? So she says, hey, email me. And she told me more than once, email me. So I told her, I want your role. She said, email me. So I emailed her. And she didn't respond. So I knew she was pretty busy. But then I was at a networking event, a virtual networking event that I chose to participate in. And a VP was there. We were talking, and I didn't really interact with him, but he mentioned that he was in DC. So I followed up and said, hey, I'll be in that area pretty often. Can we meet? He said yes. Well, he knew that SVP. And then he offered to follow up on my behalf. So he did. And guess what? Because he interacted with her quite often, he didn't answer my email. And it led to more opportunities, and that led to me expanding my network, and it led to me getting what I wanted out of it because I spoke up or raised my hand, and I was able to leverage those networks to again make that relationship. So that was probably the more recent ones out.
Yeah, I can't say enough about how important it is about who knows you and who you know, as far as like where it's going to carry you. So, thank you for that wonderful example. So, Rosario, how can professionals effectively manage relationships with colleagues, clients, and mentors to foster long-term success?
Uh, Nick, relationship management is the most crucial piece in anyone's career. So if you're not relatable, if somebody cannot see you for you are and they can't understand who you are, they cannot trust you. Being vulnerable is one way of doing it. And also understand the kind of relationship that you're building. So my mentor, we have all kind of communication. I mean, all kind of conversation. We talk about everything. He knows me. He knows uh, my struggle, my professional, personal struggle. So that's being relatable. The other thing also, when we talked about managing relationship, it's really being able to have that open door communication. So it's not like you always need something from that person. It's the ability to have that kind of relationship where we can touch on pretty much anything. So and every uh, person that you meet, every colleagues or partners or vendors or clients or mentors, they offer different types of value to you. So it's for you to be able to understand that and be able to leverage that. It took me a while to understand the value of mentorship. And when I finally got it, it makes a world of a difference. Being able to speak to somebody and ask for advice, to say, hey, I'm doing this. What do you think? Do you think I should go that way? And I use that all the time. Whenever I'm doing, even if I'm doing a presentation, and I would call my mentor, I said, hey, I put this deck together. Can you take a look at it? Um, I use my colleagues all the time. There's this position open. Do you know anything about it? What is the leaders like? Is it a good person to work with? Or you call somebody that you meet on LinkedIn and say, hey, there's this position open for that organization. How solid the organization is. So we have a lot of information all around you. It's for you to leverage, use it to your benefit.
That is incredible. I mean, it's I think we've unlocked some serious knowledge nuggets here in this interview thus far. And I just want to wrap up with Lene. Last question comes to you. In what ways can professionals use social media platforms to enhance their personal brand and expand their professional network?
Or so again, they should again really think about what it is that they want their getting their brand to be and how they communicate it.
Hmm.
And I say that because LinkedIn is a very popular professional platform. However, I know people who have talked about building a house, like a personal home there, right? So that's not necessarily, well, maybe it is different. I don't know. But just thinking about what message you want to convey. If there's an article that you really want to build upon to get that subject matter expert knowledge out to your audience so that they can see that's something that they might want to learn more about to pull them in. So I think that LinkedIn can be really great for that. Even TikTok, I'll go on TikTok on occasion. With there, you can make really quick bites on. I'm in data governance space. So sometimes maybe it's a topic on data governance that I really want to talk about or speak to. Even with Instagram, or just kind of thinking about the platform, I might do some content there, but I'm really more aware of the audience per platform. So I customize it there. And I really think about, again, what it is that I want to get across and how it's the most effective manner. TikTok is really good for shorts, for example, in my view, whereas long form is more better for YouTube. An article is better for LinkedIn. Something it's like a repost me for me is better for Instagram. So I'm really customizing the content I want to display to the audience and what the platform is known for.
Okay, so I'm hearing know your tools in your toolkit and then adjust appropriately.
Agreed.
All right. Well, Lene Rosario, thank you so much for your time today. This has been wonderful. And thank you, audience, for joining another episode of Phoenix 76 Tech Talk. Have a good day.